So on Friday, I would say, for the most part, I had what my ideal fishing day would look like. Because the tides weren't moving, I got to sleep in. We actually didn't have to be out on the water till about 8 a.m., so I wasn't exhausted. The weather was pretty nice. It was a little chilly. There was a little bit of wind. And most of us caught fish. And as you know, as a fisherman, the only fish that really count are the ones that make their way into the ice chest. Well, by the end of the day, as we were fishing for redfish, I got the nice little nickname, very endearing, of Rat King. Because if you've ever been red fishing, a little redfish that's less than 16 inches is called a rat red. So needless to say, all the other people in the boat were very grateful for me because I would get the little rat out of the way so they could catch the nice little 20-inch redfish. I may have caught the most fish, but at the end of the day, as I said, not many of them made their way into the ice chest, so they don't really count. Well, we all enjoy sharing stories like this, don't we? Whether it's our fishing stories, whether they are very endearing or not, our hunting stories, sports stories, or maybe stories of parents about their children. And in all these examples, we get excited to share them. We enjoy sharing these stories. However, oftentimes when it comes to the greatest story ever told, and by that I mean the story of our redemption, sometimes we become hesitant to share, don't we? And maybe we have the reason that we're afraid to offend someone, or maybe we're afraid to kill the mood, as you may say it. Or maybe sometimes it may not be that important to us. But unlike these sentiments that sometimes we share, how did the shepherds respond today after they encountered the Christ child? They were not hesitant at all to share, were they? Because we read in the gospel, it said, they made known the message that had been told and shown to them about the Christ. And they must have done it with such zeal and fervor. Because how did those who they shared this message with respond? Did they say, leave me alone, or you're offending me, or I don't care? No. We read in the gospel today that all who heard it were amazed. All who heard it were amazed. So my brothers and sisters, it's important for us to reflect upon this. Why we are so ready and excited to share our fishing, hunting, and sports stories, yet we are often hesitant to share the most important story of all. Because today, as a church, we haven't ended Christmas. We've actually come to the culmination of what we call the octave of Christmas. Christmas is such a big day, we celebrate it for 8 days, and the season of Christmas actually extends beyond that. But when was the last time you told someone Merry Christmas? Or how many of us have already picked up our Christmas decorations and moved on from that because the rest of the secular world has moved on from that? But while the world has moved on from Christmas and the secular way that they see it, the church today celebrates a very important feast that reinforces how amazing the celebration of the birth of Christ is. The solemnity of Mary, Mother of God. And that statement, Mother of God, was contentious. They argued about it very much in the early church. Because that statement, Mother of God, speaks to who Christ is. Because when we call Mary Mother of God, we are saying that Jesus, the second person of the Holy Trinity, truly assumed our human nature and was born of the Blessed Virgin as a little child. Meaning, Jesus did not merely appear to be human, Nor was he merely a human being who had a special place and was uplifted later in life by God. No, when we say Mary is Mother of God, we're saying Jesus himself, God himself, the second person of the Holy Trinity, united his divinity fully to our humanity, maintaining fully divine nature, fully human nature. My brothers and sisters, that's miraculous. Yet, can we comprehend it? No. It's a miracle. Yet an important reality that speaks and reinforces what we celebrated at the nativity and birth of Christ. My brothers and sisters, that thus, having heard this and once again being reminded of this and what it means, we should be filled with awe once again. So I have a question. Are we going to be like most of the world that has already moved on from Christmas? Gosh, in a very real way, New Year's is done, right? That's old news. That happened about 8 hours ago, or 10 hours ago at this point. Or are we going to be like the shepherds and share this wonderful story of love with the same zeal, with the same fervor? Because the story of our salvation is literally the most important story that has been or will ever be told. And it is a true non-fiction story. It's greater than all the stories in the history of the world put together, because it is so incredibly awe-inspiring. The story of our God's love for us. Thus, let us never be ashamed or fearful of sharing this wonderful story of our salvation. And let us become like the model that the shepherds give for us today, and to share with such fervor and such zeal the story of the Christ child and his salvation for each of us, so that all whom we share this story with, like those who the shepherds shared with, will be in awe and amazed.